F1, obviously, Sebastian Vettel on the pole for that race already happened. It'll be on. I don't know if we want to give up the race yet and ruin that for
Rob,
people.
I think in this day and age, there's this thing that's been invented by Al Gore called the Internet. And I think everyone knows that Sebastian Vettel won that race, flag to flag, so to speak. His teammate Mark Webber, not so lucky, a horrifying end-over-end crash. He ran into the back of Kovalainen, and the car just took off. I mean, landed upside down.
Who is that? Who is that?
I'm sorry? Mark Webber ran into the back of Heikki Kovalainen.
Oh, man.
Just launched himself. And so as a result, you have Vettel winning, but the McLaren twins, Hamilton and Button, do the 2-3 rounding out the podium. And other notable stories coming out of there, Ferrari's Alonso finishes ninth. Nico Rosberg beats his Mercedes teammate Michael Schumacher again, although Nico only gets a 12th out of the deal, Shuey back in 16th. And I got to tell you, Rob, that's brought us into one of our little insider stories for this week, and that is the fact that there's still conversation going on between Renault and Robert Kubica about where will Kubica be for the next couple of years. His contract with Renault is in that renewal phase as we speak, and the stories are getting hotter and hotter that he is indeed going to move over to Mercedes, and Shuey is going to ride off into the sunset, having deemed his return to F1 an interesting experiment, but not necessarily as successful as he wanted. And that's the hot story in F1 right now. So we'll keep our eyes on Kubica and see what happens.
All right. Also, how about?
I gotta say, Rob, I just got to jump in with this one because I've been listening to you all morning talking about who had the worst call, and I'm going to weigh in with mine. And it goes way back years ago when Mark Martin had some points taken away because of a spacer underneath his carburetor. That the spacer itself was legal. The way it was attached to the carb, NASCAR found issue with, had absolutely no impact on performance. They took away some points, and as a result, Mark Martin lost the championship by less points than NASCAR stripped. And frankly, the guy may never win a championship at this point. And many of us think that Mark Martin should have had a championship long ago.
Yep.
Were it not for this, getting beat in the tech shed, as they say.
Hey, real quick, we're talking about F1 and NASCAR, what's on the grid today. Real quick, Michael Schumacher looks like he's signed with Mercedes until 2012. Does that just put him there where it secures him, where if somebody else wants him, they have to buy him out now? Is this what we're saying?
You're such a silly boy. Do I have to every week remind you what a contract in F1 means?
Yeah. I think I find it on the side of my bathroom wall, don't I?
Well, what it means is Michael Schumacher can become an ambassador for Mercedes. He could become a coach. He could become a consultant. Hey, remember, that was the deal Ferrari gave him when they shoved him out of the cockpit there. And, of course, not many convinced that Shuey retired from Ferrari by his own wishes. He was kind of helped aside, if you will. And Ferrari rewarded him with a huge contract, kept paying him. He flew around the world to Ferrari dealerships from time to time. Hey, Mercedes will do the same thing. They'd love to have the guy as a global brand spokesman, even if he's not in the F1 car.
Real quick, what do you think about all the Danica mania? She obviously finished 30th. It's her best career finish. Kind of been joking around it all year, all day long today. But, it is just it's hard to do.
Rob, I think you can say you've had a higher finish in a closed-roof car than she has.
I actually, on paper, man, I got to tell you, my stats look absolutely phenomenal. I don't have a win yet.
Here's the deal. I think we're going to look back on this and say that she was absolutely brilliant in doing it the way she's doing, unlike Franchitti that gave up a year, came over to NASCAR. It didn't work out. Granted, he didn't lose any momentum when he went back to the IRL, but in her case, she's got the best of both worlds. She can continue to do this. Let's say we arrive at the end of November and the results aren't any better, then I think she just stays where she is, and she can say, look, I gave it a shot with a decent team, a decent car. For whatever reason, couldn't come to grips with it. And she doesn't need to put her career on hiatus to come over to NASCAR and see how it goes. So I think she's doing it the best way possible.
Yeah, I would agree, and she's doing it the right way. Get in a couple races here and there. I think everybody, though, with the media surrounding her, the expectations and the pressure is set way too high for her right now. Give it some.
Of course. I mean, the poor kid is in a spotlight that is just unbelievable. I mean, she can't get out of the motor coach and walk to her
without Rob D'Amico standing there.
Exactly. But on the other hand, I think it also does overscore. These cars are extremely difficult to drive. They're very heavy. They don't have a lot of downforce. They have skinny little tires. They're a handful. And with all due respect to Danica, I mean, she's been very good in the open wheel series on ovals, but if you look over her career, let's take the 5 last years into consideration, she's got one win to show for it.
Right.
Not exactly, an ass-kicking type of career that you could say, hey, she can go anywhere and drive anything. Maybe not, Rob.
Yeah, now, I was talking about that earlier, how some people and some drivers, they fit specific series, and that's where they should stay, and they have a good career there. You see it with, like Donnie Schatz, his 4th consecutive championship in the sprint cars. You have Dario Franchitti. Tried it, didn't work out, went back, and guess what? He's still in command of his own career and possibly championship.
Rahal racing to the buffet line.
Yeah, there's nobody better than him.
Never lost.
All right, hey, before we head out, the quote of the day for this weekend.
Well, it's going to be an attaboy of the day this week, Rob. I want to give it to Bobby Labonte. He keeps plugging away, and I just want to see him get to the Brickyard in a competitive car because that will be his 600th consecutive start at the Sprint Cup level. I mean, what an accomplishment. I hope he does well today. They had a heck of a time, got stuck in tech, didn't qualify, but he's starting on owner's points in Robbie Gordon's car. It's a good car. I'd love to see him get it up into the top 10.
Hey, real quick, is there a story behind why Robbie Gordon is not at the track? Somebody asked me that, and I didn't see one specific reason. The
story is he's out of the country, actually. He went down to Argentina. He's trying to work on a deal. He runs that off-road event during the winter.
Correct.
That used to go through Dakar, and now I believe it goes through Patagonia. Because there were too many bandits jumping out of the forest.
Yeah, it was too dangerous. Not because of the track, but because of the
off track.
Yeah.
But that's where Robbie is this weekend. He's down there working on a deal for his team, and it was a great opportunity for Bobby to get into a competitive car. Unfortunately, they had a problem at the track, and then got caught in the tech shed on the 5-minute clock. Couldn't get the car out to qualify. So he starts dead last, but I think he'll do all right. And Rob, I hate to tell you, but I'm getting a little drizzle right now.
Uh-oh.
Let's hope it passes over quickly.
All right, 877-99 on Fox. Ardy Arani's Insider Support. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you right back here next weekend.
All right, let's hope that Despain can get up before noon and check in with him.
I know. I'm going to give him a hard time. All right, and I'm just informed he just called in, so he might have heard your comments. I'll bring that up when I talk to him coming up next, man. All right.
You got to pay him extra if he got up before 12. It's up to you.
All right, man. Ardy, great stuff, man. Appreciate it.
All right, man. We'll see you.